It is now 10 months since the Charlotte Maxeke Johannesburg Academic Hospital was ravaged by a fire on the 16th of April last year. The fire caused extensive structural damage. Repair work has been ongoing at the facility since May last year. Now, the Gauteng Provincial Government will this morning give an update on the latest developments at the hospital. For more on the story, we cross live to SABC News reporter Nozintombi Miya. Nozintombi, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. What can we expect from the briefing this morning?
Thank you so much, Simpiwe. It's been almost 10 months of construction here. It's actually been more than 10 months since the fire broke out last year. And we do know that doctors and patients have been up in arms, have been complaining that the pace of rebuilding the hospital and the gutted infrastructure has taken absolutely too long. We know that only about 70% of the infrastructure has been tentatively rebuilt and 30% of the infrastructure has still not been rebuilt. Now, Simpiwe, just to give you an idea of what 30% really translates to, that means that Charlotte Maxeke now does not have access to casualty. That means anybody that needs immediate medical attention from a gunshot wound, some sort of a stabbing, or any blunt force trauma, an immediate wound that needs attention, they cannot come to Charlotte Maxeke. They have to go to tertiary institutions such as Helen Joseph or even the Hillbrow Clinic. And this means that it's put unnecessary added pressure on these tertiary institutions. We know that Helen Joseph said just earlier this year that they'd seen an uptake of almost 500% of patients coming to their casualty ward, and that they're severely constrained and they can barely keep up with not just the casualty patients, but these are also patients that are coming in to the COVID wards. We know that the psychiatric ward here at Charlotte Maxeke, as well as the cardiothoracic ICU ward, have also been impacted. And that means that, again, Helen Joseph has to deal with that. This is really problematic because it needs to be resolved. And we want to figure out and we want to know from today's briefing whether or not the Gauteng Health MEC will be able to give us clarity on when the rest of those facilities, such as the casualty, as well as the psychiatric ward, as well as the cardiothoracic ICU ward, as well as some of the cancer patients who've also been affected and impacted, when that will be done. It's been almost 10 months, it's been more than 10 months, and still nothing has been done. Simpiwe, what's quite interesting is that the Department of Infrastructure and Development are supposed to have dealt with dealing with the tenders, issuing out the tenders to rebuild the parking, to rebuild these units that were destroyed. And we know that they themselves are going through internal strife. The SIU earlier this month fingered the supply chain manager, acting CFO, as well as some of the top brass there at the infrastructure development. And it really begs the question, if the infrastructure development department, which is supposed to be issuing out the tenders, which is supposed to be fast-tracking the rebuilding of the gutted facilities, the rebuilding of the parking, is able to actually do their own work if they have their own internal strifes. I just want to ask my camera colleague, Zintle, to just pan to you, Simpiwe, just to show you where I'm standing. Now, you can see that this is a parking lot. Usually, it's not quite this full outside the Charlotte Maxeke. And now you can see that all these massive amounts of cars are the cars that are coming in from the university students, as well as the patients that are coming to the Charlotte Maxeke. Why? Because the parking was gutted. And we really need to ask the MEC of Health, as well as the Department of Infrastructure in Gauteng, why they still have not built even the most basic, such as fixing the parking, so that the people that access the hospital, the doctors, the nurses, the patients, the medical students who are accessing this hospital are not able to get even the most basic amount of safety for their cars, so that they know that when they go into the hospital, they are able to have even just that little amount of reassurance that their cars are not going to be stolen in the 4 or 5 hours that they're in the hospital. And these are hard questions that the MEC of Health needs to be able to answer. The Department of Infrastructure and Development needs to be able to answer. And we understand that the MEC of Infrastructure and Development, Tasneem Amora, will not be in attendance in today's briefing. Again, questions raised. If the HOD is being sent to such a high-level meeting with the media, why is the MEC of Infrastructure and Development not here to talk to the issues that have taken more than 10 months to resolve here at the Charlotte Maxeke Hospital? Simpiwe.
And I suppose other hard questions that need to be asked. I mean, I want us to go back to that fateful night in April last year, wherein, it'll forever remain ingrained in the minds of the academic staff and the staff that are working on that night. We saw, we heard patients, interns evacuating other patients amid thick clouds of smoke out of the ward. So do we have an idea as to the progress with regards to the investigations as to what really caused the fire? Was it human error or was it simply dilapidated equipment?
Yeah, you're quite right, Simpiwe. And these are the questions 10 months later that still have not been asked. Instead, we're seeing one scandal after the next around the issue of tender processing. It's almost as if the departments are more interested in divvying up the tenders instead of really investigating and giving proper feedback to the nation as to what really happened. It was an absolutely scary night on the 16th of April in 2021. We do know that some of the medical staff here, the students that were here, the interns that were here, the patients themselves having to go through billowing clouds of smoke, not knowing what's going on, not knowing what had caused it. And it was absolutely traumatic, not just for the patients that were here, but for the doctors that are here, the staff that works here, the people that came to the hospital to either visit loved ones or to come and get some sort of a checkup. And we still have not had any clarity. We still are hearing that it could be that there was some sort of, nefarious reasons behind that fire being started, disgruntled staff members that didn't get a salary increase. Playing the blame game is not really going to help at this point. The Department of the MEC of Health in Gauteng, as well as Infrastructure, and the police in Gauteng need to have given citizens of South Africa, as well as the medical staff here, the interns and the patients, they deserve to be given a response within at least 6 months. It's absolutely untenable and unexplainable why it's been 10 months down the line and there still has not been any clarity about what caused the fire. There still has not been any arrests. There still has not been proper arrests as to who it was that instigated the fire. And that really talks to the issue of either the department is not prioritizing the rebuilding of Charlotte Maxeke, or else the issues of corruption go far deeper than what we are seeing on the surface. The fact that the CFO of the Department of Infrastructure and Development has been fingered in wrongdoing, corruption, mismanagement by SIU raises serious issues. Simpiwe.
All right, Nozintombi, I'm going to let you go as you prepare for that briefing. We'll touch base with you a little later on. Nozintombi Miya there is outside the Charlotte Maxeke Hospital, wherein the Gauteng Provincial Government will give an update with regards to the renovations and repair work that's been done on the hospital. Thank you so much, Nozintombi.